Hey all you cool cats and kittens, welcome back to the channel Western Iowa Agronomic Update. Today we're going to be talking about soil residual herbicides, which is a very fun topic and I'm excited to get into it. Before I do, I want to make sure that I plug that before we even think about spraying a Pree, that we have started clean with either tillage or a burn down application to take care of those winter annuals or any early emerging weeds that are already up. So what is a residual herbicide? A residual herbicide is a product that we actually apply to the soil, usually before planting, sometimes just after planting, that is actually taken up by emerging weed seedlings, by either their roots or their shoots. So essentially that herbicide is keeping those seedlings from ever emerging, which can make it kind of hard to see if that herbicide is working or not. That leads me to my next topic. What might cause my Pree to not work well? So this is a very complex question. As you can see from this diagram, there's a lot going on anytime we apply herbicide to the soil surface. One of the main reasons we can lose effectiveness is because of soil adsorption. So essentially, soil particles and organic matter have negative charges, and most herbicides are positively charged. And once that herbicide is applied to the soil, it can then be tied up by those soil particles and organic matter, which can make it less effective. So essentially, if we have a really high organic matter soil or a really fine textured soil, we're going to need more herbicide than we would on a sandy soil. As you can see, we also have things like volatilization, chemical breakdown, and microbial decomposition that can make that herbicide less effective. The last bucket is going to be environmental. And there are a lot of issues that can kind of fall into this category. One of those is residue. So if we have heavy amounts of residue on the soil surface, that residue will actually intercept herbicide droplets and keep them from reaching the soil surface. That really depends on both the amount of residue you have and also the environmental conditions when you sprayed. We also have rainfall. All pre-emergence herbicides, residual herbicides, need rainfall for activation for the most part. That requires around a half an inch to an inch of rainfall to fully activate those products. And if we don't get that rainfall, that herbicide is then not going to be activated and isn't going to be as effective. On the flip side, we can actually get too much rainfall. If you think about what we just talked about with those charges on soil particles and organic matter, if we have a herbicide that isn't adsorbed very tightly and has really high solubility with water, that rain can then actually leach those herbicides down through the soil profile. And finally, I wanted to leave you with a few reasons why you should be using a residual Pree as part of your weed management strategy. The first is that research has shown that crops can be negatively impacted by weed pressure even very early on in the season. In fact, you can observe yield losses of anywhere from 10 to 25% from that early weed competition. Second, using a pre-emergence program can also help keep your field cleaner longer into the growing season, which should hopefully minimize the amount of post-applications that we need to make. Also, using a residual Pree is a really effective weed management strategy. We can actually overlap residuals, so one pre-emergence and one with our post-emergence pass. And that strategy can help keep weeds from really ever emerging, which also kind of protects the utility of some of the products that we use post-emergence. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune into the channel Agronomic Update throughout the growing season as we continue to update you on emerging topics.